SeatGeek. For all your ticketed events, from sporting to concert outings, SeatGeek has you covered. They even conveniently color-coded each ticket on their website from amazing to worst, so you can easily know which are the best deals. SeatGeek, the smart way to buy. Save $20 off your next ticket purchase with the promo code. Hey, everybody, I'm your host, Grande Gato, also known as the Big Cat. My cool cats, put your paws up if you're rocking with the Big Cat. Listen, today we're going to talk about Hall of Famer, former Carolina Panther, legend, left tackle, Jordan Gross shares his thoughts with Scott Fowler of the Charlotte Observer on what to do with Cam Newton. Ooh, I like this. We'll get into it, but first, one quick question before we get started. Do you love the Carolina Panthers like I love the Carolina Panthers? Yes? No? Maybe. If you love the Carolina Panthers like I love the Carolina Panthers, well, if you don't love the Carolina Panthers like I love the Carolina Panthers, I'm going to need you to do a couple things. I'm going to need you to audible, easy, Omaha, check off the mic. That! Let me tell you what Jordan Gross thinks about Cam Newton and what we should do with him. Let's get into it.
That boy is good.
Before you get started, make sure you subscribe, click the notification bell so you don't miss a video. Now, back to my man Jordan Gross. He came out in an interview with Scott Fowler. Shout out to Scott Fowler. I really enjoyed reading this interview. If you guys have not got a chance to, before you start opening up your mouth in the comment section, go check out Scott Fowler's interview on the Charlotte Observer website, or check it out on his Twitter as well. Good interview, Scott. I really like reading this. Now, Jordan Gross came out and he answers a couple questions about what they should do with Cam Newton and his future. So today, I'm going to need you guys to not think with your emotions, but think with your head. We're going to think with logic today. So if I could for 1 second, let's take our heart out. Take the emotion out of it. Let me put it back in for a second. All right. Let me put it back in for a second because I needed to breathe. We're going to think with our brains. Now, if you look up on your screen right here, Scott Fowler asked Jordan Gross, what are your thoughts on whether the Panthers should part ways with Cam Newton, who has 1 year left on his contract? And I quote, I'll use Steve Smith as an example. I felt like Steve went to Baltimore after the Panthers released him in March 2014 was a controversial move. It rejuvenated his career. Not that he was trailing off with us, but it gave him a bit of a chip on his shoulder. A change of scenery and new teammates. And a new team who really appreciated him. And I think one of the reasons Steve leaving was they wanted Cam to really be the premier guy on offense. Now, I said this before. If you haven't heard me say it, they wanted Steve to get the hell on because Cam was fresh, Cam was new, and they wanted him to step into his leadership role. And when you got an alpha dog, and Steve is an alpha dog, it can intimidate some of the pups, okay? So they wanted Cam to grow into his own. You always didn't want to be understudy to Steve, so keep that in mind. Now, as we continue reading, when Steve left, as hard as it was the best thing for Steve and the team. And I can see this relationship between Newton and the Panthers being the same. Wow. Did you hear that? Did you hear that? Let's read it again. When Steve left, as hard as it was, not easy, it was hard. As it was the best thing for Steve and for the team. And I can see this being the same relationship between Newton and the Panthers. It's a bit of different circumstances, but I think it would be good for both sides. Now, again, credentials. You want to say Jordan Gross a hater too? He's a hater too, huh? He didn't want to win either, huh? Again, credentials, Hall of Famer, All Pro, Hall of Honor. The man, let's continue reading. I'll give you the rest of my thoughts here in just a second. Now, Scott Fowler also asked him about Matt Rule and how this will affect him and his new coaching staff. Let's talk about it. And I quote, there's so much newness on the staff. Matt Rule, head coach, offensive coordinator Joe Brady, they want what those guys say, and Matt Rule in particular, to be the gospel truth. If you're really going to do things a new way, which is what they should do, as a new coach, I think having younger players, especially a quarterback that you handpick that knows no other way. I think that it would be easier coming from a new coach. Not that Cam will meet Matt Rule with resistance, but when you're a 10-year veteran, there's only so much you can change. And coming off another surgery, Newton missed 14 of Carolina's 16 games in 29 with the foot injury. This regime is going to look for consistency, a consistent winner as a football team down the road. They like to win in 2020, but I don't think anybody in the house will be surprised if we're picking in the top 10 again next year. That's real. That's real. Everything my man said was real. I can close the video up right now. I'm gonna give my couple thoughts on a couple of things. Now, Jordan Gross referred to Steve Smith, the incident, how they got rid of him and how they wanted Cam to step up. Again, legend. My man Steve Smith wasn't injury prone. He was just an older guy, and they got rid of him. So, what do you think? What do you think if you have a older guy who is injury prone? It should be a lot easier, right? You got rid of people for less, right? So again, what he was saying about Matt Rule and how him having a handpicked quarterback and him having young players and how everything Matt Rule, everything that comes out his mouth should be the gospel truth. As a veteran who's been in the league almost 10 years now, I mean, you are who you are. Again, and listen, this is beautiful. I like the way he put this. He said, there's only so much that you can change. There's only so much you can change. You're set in your ways. I mean, listen, you can go in here and change his throwing motion. You could change the color of his uniform. You could change the way he switches his hip when he releases. At the end of the day, you are who you are because that's who you are. Okay? Cam hasn't been accurate, throughout his whole career. He's been a playmaker, but those legs are no longer there no more. Again, you love the guy, you bless the guy, and some of you guys are a bit emotional about this, and I get it, because he has done so much for the team, and you should appreciate everything he has done for the team. Just because you move on from a guy because he's old or injury prone doesn't mean you don't appreciate him. It just means it's that time. Let me ask you guys a question real quick. If I gave you $1 million today, if I gave you $1 million today, and I said, you can keep this $1 million and buy whatever you want to buy, but at the end of the week, you got to give me everything back except the food that you bought. Or if I say, check this out right here, I'll give you $100 million 3 to 4 years from now, and you get to keep everything you buy and the money. A lot of you guys are gonna say, I want the instant result. Give me 1 week of instant gratification, and then I'll lose it all at the end of the week. So my point is, again, would you bring this guy back for one season, have potentially a good season where you go out here and have good stats and all that, and maybe we'll have a winning record, and that's about it? Or would you let this thing get rebuilt, and going down the line, you can really see the fruits of your labor? Again, we're thinking with our head, we're not thinking with our heart. Everything Jordan Gross says, I agree with it, man. Listen, Matt Rule, you don't bring in a new system, a new coach, a new offensive coordinator, and then have a 10-year vet sitting right here and say, okay, now adjust to me. Or maybe it takes a little too much effort to kind of make a 10-year-old vet see a new system that he hasn't been seeing over the last couple of years. Again, it's a lot of work to try to make somebody change. Change is hard, okay? But change is necessary. So again, I would definitely like to see him with his own handpicked guy and see how a system works.
Message.
So at the end of the day, man, this is what's best for both sides. I'm not saying that he's not going to be gone. I honestly believe that he's going to be back next year. It's going to be about 90% chance he's going to be back, and I'll tell you why here in a second. But a lot of you guys got to get out of that way of thinking if anybody speaks out against this, then you're a hater and all that. You got to get out of that, okay? Again, it's like a Cadillac, 2020 Cadillac, Escalade, sitting on them things. Would you put that 1998 North Star motor in that brand new 2020 Cadillac? Even though that 1998 Escalade North Star motor took you to California and back, it took you to a Super Bowl and back. Let's just pretend like it took you to a Super Bowl and back, right? But again, that 1998 motor, would you put it in a brand new 2020 Cadillac and think it's gonna run? Even though it got a little banged up on it, you patched it up, put screws in it, put Bondo on it. Would you put that in a brand new Cadillac Escalade? Be honest with yourself. The answer is no. So why would you put a brand new system, brand new mindset, brand new staff, brand new regime, brand new way of doing things, brand new way of thinking on a guy is who he is? He's set in his ways as far as his skill set. I don't see him changing his skill set at this point in his career. Maybe early in the career, if you got to hold him. I mean, I don't know, man. This shit is really tiring, man, trying to explain this. But, again, and the reason why I said I believe he'll be here, I'm 90% sure he'll still be here, is because David Tepper likes making money. And David Tepper wants this perception of his by the fans. He likes the perception of the fans. If he didn't care about the perception of the fans, he wouldn't have got the uniform combination that he did. He wouldn't turn around and change the field logo. All those things fans wanted. I mean, he could care less. I mean, he cared about the perception. So, with that being said, he's not finna sit here and take no L with the fans, and nor he's finna take no L with no money. He's a businessman, okay? Now, let's look at the other side of the perspective. If he gets rid of Cam is probably gonna be motivated to show people he still can play. Yeah, I mean, listen. If we get rid of Cam more than likely is going to have one good year after this, and he's going to show out, and he's probably going to be a Pro Bowler and all that shit. And then you're going to see him decline because he's going to be motivated. He's going to be angry. I got to show people. And then ultimately, you can't outrun Father Time. You can't outrun your injury history. It comes back to you. So, yeah, I'm a hater for this one. And me and Jordan Gross will be haters together. But realistically, you're taking a big gamble here. But at the end of the day, maybe Tepper's smarter than we think. Maybe Tepper's saying, you know what? If I get rid of him, I'm going to get backlash. If I get rid of him, I'm going to lose money and all that stuff. So how about this right here? How about I keep him? And if he does good, I'm a genius. Everybody loves me. Thank you for showing support. Or if I keep him and he doesn't do well, you know what they say. You give a man enough rope. And you still get a draft pick. So either you do well with him, and we'll see how that turns out, or you don't do well with him, and you still get a draft pick. You still win, and you still get the money from the jersey and all the other good stuff. Again, at the end of the day, man, I agree with Jordan Gross, and I don't mind him coming out saying it's to Scott Fowler. I mean, when it's time, it's time. He made a lot of good points, especially, the Steve Smith situation, and about how he wanted Cam to step up and be a leader. Steve Smith wasn't injury. Steve Smith wasn't injury prone. He was just an older guy. He came out, had one good year left, and then after that, you didn't hear no more about him in Baltimore. Okay, and then again, when he also referenced Matt Rule and how his new coaching staff, you bring in new things, you want it done a new way. You know what I mean? Nothing personal. It's strictly business. In the comment section, did Jordan Gross cross the line? How do you feel about Jordan Gross now? You still mad? I like him, man. I mean, I think he spoke from the heart. Have no problem with it, man. Get in the comment section. Follow me tonight on YouTube Live. We're going to talk about this, and we're also going to be talking about Matt Rule's coming at the Senior Bowl. Let's get up out of here, man. Make sure you follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, KeepPounding_TV. Let's get up out of here. Let the church say that.